let's get on with the show then.
All right, so let's welcome our two experts on the show. MAYURESH JOSHI of Angel Broking is our stock market expert, and HEMANT RUSTAGI of WISEINVEST Advisors is our personal finance expert. Gentlemen, good afternoon, and thanks always for joining in and advising our viewers. We have our first caller already. Remember, the first part of our show will be addressing the queries sent in by our women viewers. So first up, Madhura has called in from Pune. Hi, Madhura.
Hello.
Hi, what's your question?
Hello, ma'am. Actually, I have 240 shares of SBI at the rate of 290.50.
Okay.
And I want to know what should I do now.
Okay, is this a recent buy for you?
Yeah.
Okay, and normally are you a long-term investor or have you bought it with a trading perspective?
Long-term investing.
Okay, that's good. So MAYURESH, over to you on SBI. She's recently bought in with a view to hold it for the long term.
Afternoon, Sumera. I think if you clearly go by the numbers for the last quarter, the numbers were quite encouraging for State Bank of India. The asset quality held up very well for State Bank. The NIMs were maintained. And again, I think purely doing a comparison check between State Bank and the other PSU peers, I think it fared much better on all these parameters. Going forward, I think the credit growth is expected to remain sluggish for at least 2 quarters. But for the better part of the year, expecting credit growth between 9 and 10% for State Bank of India. The provision coverage ratio at 64% is probably one of the highest within the top tier PSU names. And again, I think in terms of absolute gross asset ratios at 62,000 crores, I think it is quite commendable for its balance sheet size. Again, I think the kind of overhang that one perceives with the 15,000 crores FPO probably coming through, our take is probably with a very strong liability franchise that State Bank currently has, and with a strong CET1 ratio as well, I think it can be highly value accretive for State Bank and its stakeholders. So our take is probably the earnings growth should continue for State Bank. And again, I think in terms of asset quality, I think the problems would be far or less over, more or less over in the next couple of quarters. Again, from a valuation perspective, trades at around 1.4 times price to adjusted book. And again, not including the life insurance business in that. So if I do a SOTP kind of comparison, again, I think a value of around 350 rupees for State Bank looks quite reasonable over the next 12 months.
Okay, so overall you would recommend holding, MAYURESH?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think, but again, I think at least a year's time frame is what she should look at, because I think the asset quality might probably cause jitters for the entire PSU pack, which might also drag SBI down.
Okay, so that's the call coming in on SBI. I hope Madhura got that 1 year perspective, and maybe you should hold SBI from the current levels that you, or the levels that you bought it at. But let's get to a personal finance query then. We have Amita Das, who writes to us from Goa. She has a term plan of 11 lakh rupees and a health cover of 10 lakh rupees. Her income is 15,000 rupees per month. She also has assets worth 1,50,000 rupees. She wants to know if she has invested in the right funds, and also wants a corpus of 5 lakh rupees in cash by the time she's 40 years old. She's currently 26 years old and is a professional. So that's a lot of insight for a 26-year-old girl to be planning. But HEMANT, I wish all of us were like this. But over to you. What would you recommend to her?
Well, let me begin by saying that, Amita has done a great job as far as the risk management is concerned. There are 3 important aspects of that. One is the life insurance, and she has taken a life insurance policy, and she's taken the right product, that is a term plan, which is a pure risk product. She's also taken accident insurance cover and also health insurance cover, which is for a 10 lakhs. So I think in terms of risk management, like I said earlier, she has done a great job. We always recommend that whenever you're planning your investment, the first thing you need to focus is on risk management, because once you've done that, then you can start focusing on your other goals. In this case, she has mentioned about one goal, which is she wants to create a corpus of 5 lakh over a period of next 14 years. Considering that she has a time horizon of 14 years, she can invest through SIP in well-diversified equity fund, which I think would be the ideal investment option for her. To generate a corpus of 5 lakh, assuming an annualized return of 12%, she will have to make a lump sum investment of 15,000, which she can because she has cash around 1,30,000, and she has to make investment of 1,000 rupees through SIP every month. A combination of these lump sum and SIP will get her the corpus of 5 lakh. A couple of funds I'm recommending. I mean, she can actually invest only in one fund. she need not go into two funds, but I'm giving two options to her. One is Birla Sun Life Equity Fund, the other one is ICICI Pru Dynamic Fund. She can choose one out of these two and start investing.
All right, that's good actually, Hemant. It's very good advice. Amita, I hope you were listening to that. And it's very, very important actually for most investors to actually invest according to the goal that you have in mind. So given that you have a few goals already that you have outlined, this advice should really hold you in good stead. Let's take a break on that note. We'll come back in a bit. Our two experts are with us. We'll continue answering your stock as well as personal finance queries.
Let's get talking on another query. We have Radhesham calling in from Hyderabad, and he has a personal finance query. Radhesham, hi.
Hi.
Go ahead with your query.
Madam, I am Radhesham speaking from Hyderabad.
Yes.
Now my query is, I am going to retire on 31st March of this year. So I am getting around 50 to 60 lakhs as retirement benefits.
Okay.
And I have only the pension amount of 1,913 rupees per month. And I require 25 to 30,000 for my monthly maintenance. So what is the possibilities of getting a good amount apart from FD? Because FD I am getting only 9.3% as a senior citizen.
Okay. I'm going to just toss it over to Hemant. Hemant, do you want to take this conversation forward and ask him a couple of questions which would be important or pertinent to you?
Yeah, Radheshamji, I just want to ask you one thing. You said you want to invest only in FDs. Why do you not want to consider any other investment option?
No, I don't want to invest in FDs. Hello?
What's the best option, Hemant?
You're looking for options now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let me begin by saying, it's always a challenging task, for retirees to generate a regular income, that too in a tax-efficient manner. Because, on one hand, you have traditional options like we just mentioned about fixed deposit. You also have senior citizen scheme, and you have monthly income scheme of post office. Now, these options definitely provide, fixed return. But the problem is the returns are low and also the returns are not tax efficient. On the other side, you have market linked products like mutual funds, which do offer you higher return, but the problem is their attendant risk also. So the dilemma for retirees is what kind of combination you should have. In your case, if you have a corpus of 50 lakh, and currently if your monthly expenses are going to be 30,000, you just need to generate a return of 7-8%, which you can get from traditional options. But the problem is 5 years down the line, or maybe, even longer period if you really consider, with the inflation of 8%, you will really struggle to, generate enough to meet your expenses. Now, for example, after 5 years, your expenses will go up to 45,000. In that case, you will require a return of 10 to 11%. So my recommendation to you is, you should look at a combination of traditional as well as market linked product. So I'll give you a model portfolio. You can consider that and see whether it suits your requirement. What I'm recommending to you is that you can invest jointly with your wife in post office monthly income scheme. The maximum that you can invest is around 9 lakh there. Then you can invest in a bank fixed deposit around 8 lakhs because this will give you a regular return and also give you some kind of flexibility. You can invest 15 lakh in senior citizen scheme. That's the maximum you can invest in your name. Two market linked product you can look at is Kotak Equity Saving Fund around 10 lakhs and ICICI Balance Advantage Fund 8 lakhs. This is a combination of arbitrage and equity and debt. As a combination, I think you will get a return of around 11% and more. Also, it will give you a chance to get capital appreciation. So I think if you look at this combination going forward, like I said, you'll have enough to take care of your expenses and inflation, and also you can generate some capital appreciation.
All right, Radheshamji, I hope that answers your question. But there are two stocks that are flashing for you at the bottom of your screens. HMT and ITI both have seen a near vertical climb in just the last few minutes odd. So in, I think, the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, these stocks have added nearly about 7%. And as we speak, they're at session high. So up about 13%, in fact, on HMT. But another stock that's climbing up is JSPL. That stock, if we see, has gained about 1% in the last few minutes odd. And even though for the week it's down about 5-odd%, but this year itself that stock has gained about 17%. Pankaj Mishra, in fact, is our next caller, and he has a query on JSPL. Hi, Pankaj. Pankaj, can you hear me? Pankaj, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is, I'm having 175 share of Jindal Steel and Power at the rate of 183.5. Actually, I want to come out from this within a short period of time.
Okay.
So, what's the suggestion from your side? Can I get some profit within 5 to 10 days? Or
Okay, so that's a bit of a toughie actually, and I don't know if Mayuresh will want to give you any advice for the next few days but you know, just this morning we spoke with the management of JSPL and they're sounding quite upbeat actually. There was news that the government is possibly going to re-examine the coal block bids by JSPL, but they say that so far they have not received any communication from the coal ministry, and they say that there's no reason why those 2 coal blocks should not be awarded to them. So let's see how this whole issue progresses, but Mayuresh, if not for the next few days, in the near term, what's your take on JSPL and how would you want to advise Pankaj?
Clearly, again, I think the investor has very short-term views, so it will depend probably on what the government probably does in its re-examination. The probability of them coming back in the next couple of days will determine the course of action for the stock. The kind of bidding that JSPL did for both its blocks, specifically the Karepalma 2-4 block, I think that was exceptional in terms of pricing, and we've already seen movement in terms of the stock price probably moving up, and for rightful reasons. This will give access probably to linkage coal at a much cheaper cost than what a lot of analysts on the streets were expecting. And again, I think a part of this coal options can probably even be sold at merchant rates. So clearly, I think the stock would be discounting any of these news that have probably come through. But again, I think if it goes adverse against JSPL in the next couple of days, the stock might just correct. So probably a technical analyst will be able to give you a better picture in terms of stop losses and targets.
Okay, so right now, fundamentally, it's too tough to call for JSPL then overall, Mayuresh?
Oh yes, Ekta, I think it's a little bit of a difficult call to make in terms of what kind of dynamics the balance sheets will probably exhibit, even if one assumes probably that they do get the bids at the price they bid it for and there is no adverse action from the government. But one really needs to...
Okay, I think we've lost that link with Mayuresh, but overall, fundamentally too tough to call. Pankaj, maybe a technical perspective on JSPL will help you a little more, at least for a short-term perspective. Taking another caller then, we have Sarfaraz Hussain, who calls in from Odisha, and he has a personal finance query. Sarfaraz, go ahead.
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Bataiye.
मैडम, मैं पिछले 6 महीने से 3,000 रुपये महीने का यूटीआई एमएनसी ग्रोथ फंड में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ. ओके, क्या मैं ये तो लंबे अवधि के लिए कर रहा हूँ 10 से 12 साल का, और मुझे लगभग 2 से 3,000 रुपये ऐड करना है. क्या इसी फंड में ऐड करो या और कुछ बता सकते हैं मुझे? या ये फंड जो कर रहा हूँ यूटीआई एमएनसी, ये ओके, मतलब ये मतलब ठीक है, या इसको मैं डाइवर्ट कर सकता हूँ या इसमें ही ऐड करूँ? और
ओके,
जीवन
ठीक है. Hemant, what would you recommend? He's asking if UTI MNC is one of the funds that you would recommend, or maybe you'd recommend a switch over, and if so, to what? And if you could answer the query in Hindi.
देखिए सरफराज जी, आप जो जिस फंड में इन्वेस्ट करें, जैसा कि नाम से पता चलता है एमएनसी फंड, मतलब ये फंड मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करता है जो डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स में ऑपरेट करती हैं, जैसे एफएमसीजी है, फार्मा और इंजीनियरिंग में. इस फंड की अगर हम परफॉर्मेंस देखें तो काफ़ी अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस रही है. तो मुझे लगता है कि आप इस फंड में जो इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं वो कंटिन्यू करते रहिए, आगे जाके भी इसकी जो परफॉर्मेंस है वो अच्छी रहेगी. लेकिन एक चीज़ ध्यान रखिए, क्योंकि ये थीमेटिक फंड है, ये क्योंकि एक थीम को फॉलो करता है, तो इसकी जो परफॉर्मेंस है कभी कभी थोड़ी इरेटिक हो सकती है, ऊपर नीचे आपको शायद ज़्यादा देखने को मिलेगा. लेकिन अगर आप सिस्टमैटिकली इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो आपको बहुत ज़्यादा चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है. तो जो आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं वो आप करते रहिए, और जो पैसा आपको डालना है, मैं ये मान के चल रहा हूँ कि आपको लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए इन्वेस्ट करना है, तो आप इक्विटी फंड में देख रहे हैं. 2 फंड में आपको बता रहा हूँ, दोनों में से एक फंड ले लीजिए आप, अगर आप 2 या 3 हज़ार आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है. आईडीएफसी प्रीमियर इक्विटी या फिर रिलायंस इक्विटी अपॉर्चुनिटी, ये दोनों के दोनों फंड जो है एक कॉम्बिनेशन लार्ज और मिड कैप में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. इनका काफी अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है. दोनों में से कोई भी एक फंड ले लीजिए, आपके लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए बिल्कुल सही रहेगा.
All right, and there's